A win that might put us back in a position. We never know. Canes win, though. 34-17 to the Virginia Tech Hokies in Blacksburg, Virginia. Um, this was a game that Miami was truly remarkable. They were very good from pretty much start to finish with a few flaws, which I'm nervous about. Those few flaws might be the impact on the college football committee to rank us a little bit higher. There is a debate going on between Miami how they were ranked because they're ranked 13 with ironically the same record as Notre Dame. And I bring up Notre Dame for a couple of reasons. One, with the same record and with the same record as Miami in the case ACC, and number two, the biggest one of all, is that how could Virginia not Virginia how could Notre Dame be higher than Miami if Miami beat them this season early in the season? How is that possible? You know what I'm saying? So I don't get this at all. How is it that they lose a game, they don't get much impact, but when we lose a game, it's like we drop down like 40 spots. You know what I'm trying to say? It's just so bullshit. It's so bullshit. But anyway, I digress. The first drive for the Hurricanes was resulted in a touchdown, which is pretty good. There was a 32-yard pass for Marion, which was a nice one, and a 20-yard pass to Elijah Lofton, which was a nice play altogether. 7-0 Miami to start off. Virginia Tech's Hokies, it starts off with a lot of big plays already. 33-yard rush from Hawkins for 33 yards. 14-yard pass. Drones is their starting quarterback. He passed it to Heath for 14 yards, which would then be a second and 6. They would get the first down, though, from a couple runs later. But ultimately, that resulted in a field goal. Love resulted in a field goal, 7-3. The Hurricanes' next drive, it was 14 plays, 75 yards, 8 minutes and 28 seconds. There was a big play right there. Carson Beck passing it to Malachi Tony for 22 yards. He's incredible. He is just incredible. 11-yard pass once more to Malachi Tony a little bit later on 4th and 3. So they're converting fourth downs. This will carry over to the second quarter. And eventually a 3-yard pass to Fletcher. Fletcher gets a pass and touchdown from Carson Beck. And it's another score. It's another score for Miami. Is 14-3 right off the bat. 14-3 now. Virginia Tech now with the possession of the football. Couple of big plays, some non-huddle ones. That's where Miami's going to struggle right here. No huddle plays, and they're rushing the football with Hawkins and Drones with how fast he is. 13 yards, 19 yards. Ultimately, they call a timeout, and Hawkins was stopped on 4th and 2, resulting in a turnovers on downs for Virginia Tech. Miami with the football back, which was awesome. There was a 12-yard pass for Marion in this possession. A couple of plays later, which would then result in the first down. A 15-yard pass to Marion again. Those are big plays. But that's where it ends there. There will be an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty on Fletcher, even though there was clearly some shove and it's just you gotta maintain your composure if you're Fletcher. But the field goal is good. It is a 30. What is it? This is actually a 46-yard field goal. So now it's 17-3. Virginia Tech's next drive resulted in a punt, but this is a 10-play drive. There was penalties after penalties, and then there was this situation with Drones getting a yard rush and then losing a yard. But this was because of this, right? 8-yard pass, Drones for Hairston was called, but they were looking at. And then there would be some plays later where they would seemingly as if they were looking at this play, whatever or not, if it was a completed catch. I personally don't think it was a completed catch for Hairston. I don't think it's a completed catch. But the thing is, the referees took a long time to decide whether they're going to review it or not. And in between, two plays happened. Actually, maybe even three. No, it's actually two. Two plays happened, which would then resulted in a turnover. Both plays would have resulted in a turnover, but none of them counted. And they went back to review this play. Like, what the hell are we doing? They said that the call was upheld, so it was a completed catch. But all in the meanwhile, Miami has already stopped in the fourth. Why are we putting the fourth down anyway? That is bad. That is very bad. And the next play, they did get the first down, which should not have happened, but it did. 2-minute warning now. Drones coming out. Nothing on there. There will be a fumble. There will be a fumble from Drones, a sack fumble, but it was recovered by Drones himself, which would be 3rd and 18, and it didn't result in anything, thankfully. Miami Hurricanes' next drive was a 56-yard pass right down the middle to Malachi Tony. He was just awesome. Completely faking the defender. In fact, the defender slipped to get this wide open. And then there'll be a penalty on Miami for holds, which was incredibly bad. This would result in a field goal, 40-yard field goal, which was awesome. Virginia Tech didn't do much in the half before the half. There was a 13-yard pass, which would result in halftime, and then we can call it right there. Virginia Tech, though, coming out at halftime, they got the score. They got the score. It's a 38-yard run for Overton for 38 yards to get this touchdown for the Hokies, which would be a 20-10 game at this point. Hurricanes, though, responded in the big way. This took 11 plays and 75 yards, but they got it. They got it there. So it was a 17-yard pass for Malachi Tony. There was some really disciplined passes from Carson Pick to get there from this point. 19-yard pass then to Anderson for Miami Hurricanes Anderson. And then 16-yard pass to Pringle. That was a diving catch. It was a great catch from Pringle. Completely lunges and grabs it with his life as he was about to fall on the end zone on his stomach with the football. That had to hurt for a little bit. He had to compose himself for a bit, but thankfully he was able to hold in, and it's now 27-10 Hurricanes. Awesome. Incredible. We need to talk about this next drive for the Hokies, because I think they were royally screwed in this one, and I'm saying as a Hurricanes fan because I've seen this. 24-yard rush for Overton. Rush. It was incomplete. There was a 1-yard loss, and then a 14-yard pass. He was going to be sacked. He was going to get sacked, but he lets go of the football. He lets go of the football just in time to get Green, which I got to tell you, Green for Virginia Tech was incredible. He was incredible throughout this game. He made some impossible catches, and he was able to get this first down. Except here's the problem, and this will drive me crazy. This would drive me crazy if this happened to my team. And I'm going to keep this argument with the fact that I would have said the same thing if this happened to other team. This was a seriously horrible, horrible situation that the team has happened. What happened was, as was completed, the problem is that when Drones was going down, when he let go of the football, right? The pass was already thrown. The problem was the referee that was right there blew the whistle too early. The play was still going on. He thought he got sacked, but he was not sacked. He was not sacked. The ball was let go, and he blew the whistle. It was right in front of him, too. It was literally right in front of this referee. He blew it way too early. What I learned in school is this, with the umpire school. timing. This is a situation of a timing play. For baseball, if there's a close play, let the play kill itself. Say the least. That's what they're saying on the announcers thing, right? Right? They were saying the same thing, and I agree. You have to let it run its course before you make a decision. He did not make. He made a decision way too fast, and that caused a controversy. As the play, and there's a rule where if the inadvertent whistle happens, you have to replay it down, even if there's like a huge play like that. And at that point, I feel sorry for Hokies fans. I feel really sorry. That was horrible, and that was a horrible call too, man. Minds. That is a horrible call, and a call that should not have happened. It was inadvertence, and that resulted the play to be replayed. Understandably, the coaches for the Hokies were so upset. The fans were angry. I've actually been in a situation where we got rolled to screw too. That was a bad whistle, bad refereeing right there. And I will say this with the referees too. That is just it's their nightmare. It's a nightmare that they call it too quick. Because I've done that before. Not with football, but with umpiring. I've done that shit before. It was not fun. And I felt horrible for the rest of the day. How do you think they feel for the rest of the day when they have that? Understandably so from the Hokies fans. Understandably so, but my God, you have to let the play go. You have to let the play run its course. Otherwise, something like that would happen. And it happened in this game, and it happened against the Hokies, which would give Miami a breathing room. So that play did not count, and Jones gets sacked for 8 yards. And that kind of ends the wound, right? That kind of ends the wound. So they had to punt the football. Understandably, Hokies fans were pissed. I understand. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I totally get it. All right, Miami had to punt their next drive. There was a fumble. I mean, what the hell was that? What in the hell was that snap? That was a horrible snap. I don't know if because the crowd was into it. The crowd wasn't even that loud at that point. They were just angry at the fact that the referee blew the whistle too early. And it was a horrible snap. Thankfully, Beck got the football back because that could have been an all-time disaster. Plays like this is what worries me with the college football committee. They're going to look at this and be like, that is awful. I'm not going to put it up that high. Instead of looking at everything else like a touchdown and shit like that. And then a 12-yard pass, which didn't even result in a first down. They called a timeout because I wasn't there at the game, obviously, but I think it's because the wind direction was blowing where the punt was going to happen. So the punt, if the football were to be punted in the wind direction like that, the football would have gone a little bit more further down. Instead of kicking it directly at the wind, the momentum of the wind could blow it that way. That was Chris Bull's thinking, and I agree with this too. Hokies' next drive, at the start of the fourth quarter, resulted in 12 plays, and they did not get past the line, the first down line. They were sacked. They were sacked 8 yards. Moulton was awesome. We didn't get the touchdown out of this. We punted the football. I mean, that's just garbage. That is just garbage right there to not get the touchdown at all. Penalties too. It's hurting us. They had the quarterback in drones. Virginia Tech, to say the least, had some good plays. 11-yard pass for Spencer, 39-yard pass into Green, which he is just, oh my goodness, unbelievable. Then Drones gets sacked for 11 yards, 6-yard rush for Drones, incomplete, and then this would be, they actually had to replay this, and they determined that it was, there was a hurry situation. They had to review this play. The call was overturned. They reviewed this pass to Overton, which would then be 4th and 11, and now Watson has to come in for Drones because Drones got hurt from the sack earlier, and They got a 39-yard pass out of this to Green. Green was just, oh my goodness. And they got a touchdown drop. They got a touchdown run out of this Watson. He gets a touchdown in. He was celebrating a little bit too much. He gets an unsportsmanlike conduct. They kicked a PAT to make it 27-17. The onside kick frustrated me because I'm looking at that play. That is another one where the college football committee is going to take a look at, and those plays that I'm mentioning, they're probably not going to rank us up because of the mistakes that we made. Miami did not recover the onside kick. Virginia Tech did, and it's bad. That is bad news for the Hurricanes. That is bad news. Now Watson gets sacked. He threw the football, which was right down the line. It was a picked up, which would have been resulted in a fumble, except Watson's knee was down. That right there, okay, that's a definition of letting the play run its course, and you look at the play. That's how you do it, referees, right there. So they make amends with that, and they see that Watson's knee was down on replay, and they can just correct it. So I'm not arguing with it. I'm not arguing with that right there. But then the next play, a deep pass to Spencer for 38 yards, incredible. Now I'm getting nervous. There was a incomplete. Okay, fine. But then a 15-yard penalty, an offensive pass interference against Sheldon. And yeah, he totally pushed off our defender. Totally pushed him off. Non-negotiable. And then Watson fumbled the football. The arm was coming forward, but as the arm was coming forward, the football was already out of control, and it was not in control of the football, and that ball was dropped. Fumble recovery by Messidor. He was just awesome. Boyser recovered it, and he got it for 18 yards, which was awesome. They took a look at this, and yeah, that is a fumble. It didn't take too long either. The next drive was the last drive that took 7 plays. 3rd and 12, there was a 14-yard pass to Jodo Trader, which was awesome. Got that play in. 4th and 2 now. They called a timeout. Clock was going to go down. The game was already over. The Hurricanes were going to win this game, but it's about getting up points so the college football committee can make the right decision and put us in a playoff. This was a great play. Carson Beck threw the beautiful spiral, beautiful ball to Malachi Tony, and Malachi Tony with an even better finish, an even better catch to get this football to make it 34-17 for the Miami Hurricanes. And the Hurricanes win this game 34-17. They didn't need to do this, but with a lot at stake, the Hurricanes had to do it. And now they're sitting at 9-2 to almost wrapping up the regular season. We have one more game to go, and one last chance to hopefully the college football committee could put us in. I really hope they could put us in. But a great game by the Hurricanes to do that at Blacksburg, Virginia, against the Hokies in that stadium. That stadium was rocking, bro. They were rocking. So, great game, good finish, everything good, almost everything good for the Hurricanes. They did not commit a turnover in this game. Virginia Tech forced one turnover, which was at the end of the game, to say the least. Carson Beck was awesome. 4 touchdown passes. Our rushing game was not there, but our passing game was good. They were very good, and especially with Malachi Tony. Malachi Tony alone with 146 receiving yards, with 12 receptions and a 1 touchdown pass he caught. Moten with 2 sacks. He was incredible. Boyce had himself a great game. And yeah, that's pretty much it with this one. The Hurricanes' final game of the regular season is going to be in Pittsburgh. Pitt Panthers up at Heinz Field. I know they call it Acrisure Stadium, if I said it correctly. I know they call it something else, but I'm still calling it Heinz Field. I actually saw the stadium in person. It's right next to PNC. Pittsburgh, oh, beautiful city. Beautiful city. But regardless of the beauty, this is the last game. Last game to try to get us in the playoff. That game might be the difference maker against Pitt. But in terms of everything else, scoreboard watch, Alabama, of course, going to win that game. We're looking at Oregon and USC. That's a big one. Notre Dame's going to beat the shit out of Syracuse. It's 35-0, and it's the start of the second quarter for Notre Dame against Syracuse. 35-0 to start the second quarter. Okay. They're going to look at this, and that's impressive. Vanderbilt is right now winning 10-0, and they're the 14th seed. By the way, Notre Dame is number 9. You see the debate here? It's incredibly stupid. Utah, as of right now, is losing to Kansas State, but I don't expect it to last forever, though. I think Utah's going to make this comeback. So that game is important. Is also pretty critical to watch. But I think right now, USC and Oregon, that's the big game to watch. But in terms of everything else, BYU is another game to look at because they're the 11th seed. Georgia Tech, we're hoping they would lose, but it's doubtful. Oklahoma already won. Georgia won. Texas A&M and Ohio State won. Those are non-surprises. So we're looking at BYU and USC and Oregon. That's pretty much it. Scoreboard watches, and hopefully something good come out of it, and hopefully they were able to help us in. But we'll see what happens. Oh, and Utah too. In Utah. But anyway, guys, there you go. That's going to do it for this one. If you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe for content, because Miami TV guys are back. And when he does, he'll be right there with the free time you deserve. This is Miami TV sign off, folks. Have a good rest of your day.